My name is Ed White, and I live in Weeki Florida. And I have a little story to tell about my teeth. uh, when I was in the Army, the idea of a dentist was, I guess, different than what civilian dentist is. When you go to a civilian dentist, they actually try to repair your teeth. When you go into a service dentist, they just pull your teeth. I had a lot of root canals that were started that all of a sudden I would get a transfer and I'd be 50 miles away from that dentist, so it was very difficult to follow up on a lot of visits. So I made do with having lack of teeth by chewing on one side of my mouth. All the tricks. Anybody that loses teeth knows all the tricks that you can do. And because my job dictated that I work with the public, I had to be somewhat presentable. So growing my mustache was a way to disguise it. And as long as I had two good front teeth and some good ones on the bottom, it was satisfactory to me. Because I had a denture done for the top, and that was very easy to do because it sticks in. But the bottom, everybody kept telling me, you don't want to get a bottom, because if you get a bottom, it's impossible to chew and eat. And I'm like, they're just being babies, but, I can do this. Which, needless to say, I couldn't do. It's a good thing I'm not a big eater, because I don't know how people do it. And then I found out about implants, and I came and I seen Dr. Picos, and he explained the procedure to me. I got them now, and I'm very happy I got them. I'm getting used to having them. It's so nice that your palate isn't covered. You can even taste the food so much better when they're implanted. Everything's changed. And it's changed for the better. I can smile. I can actually cut my mustache off. But I cut it up a little high now just to show the teeth. I'm not trying to hide them no more. Because the way it was described to me in the old procedure was kind of tough. You had to let the skin grow back over the implant or the stub that it snapped into. It sounded horrid. It sounded like a torture chamber, and I really didn't want no part of it. But the new way of doing it that Dr. Maggior and Dr. Picos explained to me sound like such an easy thing that I really had to look into it, and it really works good for me. I felt normal. Like 3 days later, there was no pain. It was nothing. It was unbelievable. I had to do something because I was retired and I was going to be out much more socially than I was going to be when I was working. And as respect to my wife, I think I did it. Pain and all that stuff, but it was more to be respectful to Denise. I mean, to look better for her, Getting at that age, she wants to dump me. How quick, painless, because I've talked to other people that have had them, and I would never go through it. It sounded like a medieval torture. It didn't sound like it was worth it, something I would never, ever. I had a lot of contact with people that are dentists, because I worked in their offices in my job, and people that I've met in my life that have had it, and I just would have never even considered it until they showed me this new way of doing it. And I'm like, man, that sounds pretty good, But I'm actually just using them for aesthetics, for all I care, But people that enjoy eating are going to love having them because they're rock solid. There's no movement in them. There's no movement in them whatsoever. There's no pain. There's no taking them out. There was no stitches involved. It was like, I think I had 4 holes drilled on the top and 4 on the bottom. And it was like one day of tying all painkillers, and like the next day I was fine. I could gum a lot of food, But corn would be one thing I couldn't eat. Pizza was very, very difficult. If you don't have bottom teeth that are anchored, you can't eat pizza because it won't cut into the dough. It's impossible. And that upset me more. If I could eat pizza with regular dentures, I might not have ever did this. But I basically like pizza, and you just can't eat it. You bite down, the top teeth will cut it. But when you have dentures on the bottom, they slide, and it just doesn't put enough pressure to cut the pizza. So the first thing I did when I got these teeth, about 3 days after I had the operation, I got a pizza. And I was like, all right, it was great, You can't. I can't believe it. It'll stay tight so you can talk, but when you have to chew, if you're going out to dinner with a couple, you do better sneaking them out your mouth than just gumming the food. Otherwise, they're all over your mouth. And I wouldn't go out for the longest time. I eaten so much healthier now that I've been retired. So it is a little bit more important to have a full set of teeth and be able to digest it better. Being my stomach, you're older, your stomach doesn't digest as much. You know, it all ties in together. Having confidence in the doctor and looking at my health now that I'm retired, and I'm like to stick around for a while, to stick it to my company, you know. Even grabbing a carrot and just trying to chew on a carrot, it would break that seal. She's still married to me. I feel good. No, I feel that I can smile now instead of hiding it, you know, a little more confidence in my teeth, you know. And I have a lot of people ask me, you know, your teeth look so good, who's your dentist, you know? And I hate saying that they ain't real. If you got dentures in your mouth, you shouldn't be hesitant. It's very simple. You know, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. This is from a non-foodie saying this. You know, I go days at a time without eating. I could care less. But man, when it really comes down to it and you really get hungry, you really need those teeth to eat. And these allow me. I can eat anything. There's nothing I can't think of that I can't do now, you know. Before I couldn't even, like, when you wanted to rip tape something up, you grab it with your teeth. You can't do that with dentures, because the dentures will fall out. But with these, you can actually grab, not that you're supposed to. Don't tell them, edit that part out. I'm not supposed to be doing that with my teeth, you know. It was so cool because I heard so many horror stories. And then when I actually sat down and I looked online on how they did it, I'm like, and all these people went through that? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And that's why when I broke those bottom teeth, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to look into it. Nah, I'm going to go with the dentures. Everybody's just being stupid about it. They're just not, you know, concentrating when you can't do it. You can't do it. You got to have implants. And this new way, we're just in the front and no cutting of my jaw. No swelling, no nothing. I mean, this is great. It was absolutely fabulous, you know. It was the best dentist experience I ever had. And I've had quite a few of them, you know. Yeah, Dr. Pico said he had this new thing that I would be perfect for. And I was like, okay. And then when he explained it, I was like, yeah, that sounds a lot better than the stuff that I looked up. I just can't believe it. It's so much different than what all the people I know that I live with now that have implants. My implants are so much better than what they had to go through. They had to do. And Dr. Pigos and Dr. Maggio invented this thing, or whatever. They thought up how to do this. Right? It's so easy. Nobody should be afraid to do it, you know? And again, Dr. Picos was great.